wish I could tell you that I earned my multimillionaire title overnight. That would end the story. I don't want to end there. Welcome to my channel. My name is Corianne, and this channel is a place for me to share my real estate and asset investment journey that got me to be financially free independent at the age of 35 and also become a multimillionaire. I did not inherit money from a rich parent or marry a rich spouse. Contrarily, I escaped out of my country, Vietnam, alone as a refugee to Hong Kong, where I spent almost 4 years before I got my refugee status to come to the US, the promised land of abundant opportunities. My dad was brave enough to let his youngest daughter escape out of the country alone, as he knew that my future would be better in America. I came to this country at the age of 19 with a few belongings. I know very little of English, and I was fortunate enough to be sponsored by a Lutheran church for a couple of years when I first came to this country. I was learning ESL in high school so that I could apply to a university. Starting life alone at the age of 14 was difficult. I learned to own my own life at a very young age, being responsible for everything that I do. I knew I could only depend solely on myself. This process taught me tremendously about how I make decisions and how I should live. My first job was at McDonald's, and I was paid $2.75 per hour. I was so happy to have my first job and earn money that I could save away for my first car. This city that I first arrived in the US was Fargo, North Dakota, where I was even able to bike to and from my job at McDonald's in the fall, and the road could be slippery in the winter. Then in my first summer in America, I applied for second job at the printing shop that I got paid $4.25 per hour so that I can speed up my saving to buy my first car. To and from work from the night printing shop at night that I work overnight time, I bike home very late, and on the way there I have to pray to the Buddha that please keep me safe. Within a couple of years, I was able to save enough to buy my first car. I worked at the printing shop full-time during the summer and 20 hours at the McDonald's on the weekends. From working at these two jobs, I was saving enough money to buy my first car when I turned 21. And it's also the time that I started my first semester at the university. The Lutheran Church sponsored me until I was 21, and I started to live on my own. I lived in that little apartment there on the 3rd floor. I came back to visit this place last year. Living on my own meant higher living expenses, so I left my job at McDonald's and looked for other higher paying jobs and flexible hours around my university classes. I worked as a babysitter during weekdays to pay for my rent and living expenses, and also worked at a nursing home on the weekend to supplement my scholarship for my tuitions. During 5 years attending university, I worked 3 jobs to avoid taking out student loans because I was growing up in the culture where we have to buy everything with cash or only use what we have or can afford. This was a healthy habit that I got from my father. That habit has served me well to spend smartly and accumulate it at a good saving rate to invest as soon as I got my first corporate job. It took 5 years for me to finish double majors with no student debts. I had no life during these years. My primary form of enjoyment during those years was to spend an hour each day at the YMCA to exercise before getting to my classes every morning. And I had 1 weekend off per month when I would drive to Twin Cities to buy Asian groceries to stock up for my monthly cooking. It was not something that I would prefer to want to live for the rest of my life for sure. Life presented me with some great challenges, and I learned to embrace them because I have learned that they are here to teach me something. What I have gone through has built me to be resilient, focused, and have no giving up attitudes. My financial life changed for the better as soon as I graduated from college. My first corporate job paid me about $58,000 per year. I remember that I was able to save away 30% from the take-home paychecks each month. I maxed out what could put away for my 401k because my company had matching 401k for employees. I put the rest of the saving into my swap account to invest in the equity market. I did not know about real estate investment then. My first job became less enticing after a year and a half because I noticed many of my co-workers who sit around my cubicles had been working in the same company for over 20 years, and some of them even been there for 40 years. It was not something that I wanted for my life, and I know that I have to do something different to save it faster so that I do not have to work for that long. I changed my job to a startup company in Silicon Valley, and the job paid 40% higher than my first job. I was happy with that pay raise, and also the job was more challenging than my first one. The dot-com came in the 2000, and this company ran out of money and the funding, so it closed its door. I found myself jobless. Ouch! Reflection point in my life. Working very hard to get my degrees and then being no job one day. I realized that my financial future depended on others. I did not like that idea, and I told my husband that I would not want to go back to another corporate job. I wanted to start my own company. He was very supportive of the idea. I went on the hunt for the ideas for my new venture. After a few months of searching, I found a company that wanted to sell its mortgage business. The owner wanted to retire and wanted to sell. The price was really high for my savings. During the process of looking at the company financials, I was shocked by the amount of income of this company earned in the last 3 years. I told the owner that I didn't have money to buy his business, but I wanted to learn about the business. So I asked if he could train me for 6 months with a fee. His initial price was $30,000. Then I asked him if he would accept $20,000 and I would work for him for free for 6 months to underwrite loans for his customer in his office. He accepted my offer. I'm so glad that I asked so that I can save $10,000. But in exchange, I offered to work for him for free. I learned so much during that 6 months working for him and commuted almost 1 hour each way to his office every day for 6 months. As soon as I finished working for him, I opened my own mortgage company and started to get approval to work with many wholesale lenders. Among many big names that you may know, Wells Fargo, Chase, Bank of America, and many other wholesale lenders. Within 6 months, my business was prospering, and I earned pretty good income closing 2 to 4 loans per month, and the loan amount in California was usually large in the 400s. We then bought our new home in one of the desirable school districts in Northern California. Because we wanted our children will go to the best school district and turn our old home into our first rental properties. This rental opened up my curiosity to learn about real estate investing after we netted $500 cash flow per month. I enrolled in the real estate seminar that cost me almost $8,000. I met my first real estate mentor there at this event, and he assigned me to use my current equity in my rental at the time to buy 5 rentals outside of California where I could earn higher monthly cash flow and lower my risk by spreading my money into a few properties. I took his advice and ran with it. In 2001, I sold one property and exchanged it into 5 properties, then bought 2 more properties in a year later, then 10 more a few years later. In 8 years, I had about 36 residential properties. Today, I still have some of the properties that I bought over 18 years ago, with the latest addition as recent as 3 months ago. Investing in cash flow real estate properties in my early years was one of the best financial tools that I have created for my family. I love the mortgage business and love helping my clients who have less than perfect credit and challenges financial knowledge to secure approved loans for them. That giving me so much joy. While at the same time, I was able to accumulate income to continue to invest in cash flow assets until this asset produce enough passive income that cover our family expenses. In 2009, it was the right time for me to withdraw from the mortgage business to focus on my family, my children, who would not wait for me to work 14 hours a day and miss out so much of their lives. At the same time, there was many real estate opportunities during 2009-2013, so I used our retirement funds to buy many more great discount properties from bank-owned properties and wholesale real estate investors. Investing in cash flow assets has given me time to be with my young children, travel the world with them 3 months out of a year, and give our resources abundantly where needed. Cash flow real estate can create financial independence for each one of you. In 2016, I published my first best-selling book, co-authored with Brian Tracy, and then second book in 2017, Property Master the Wealth. My ultimate goal is to pay it forward to help others to get educated about cash flow real estate investing. In return, I find joys and meanings. So come back for a lot of more content that can help you to build your own independence and freedom. If you enjoy this video, please click the like button. It helps boost the engagement, and it's also a simple way for me to know that you like this sort of content. While you are at it, please feel free to subscribe so you can start learning, building, and taking your own financial independence journey.